Good day, and a special week to all as Jamaica observes this Emancipation period, Emancipation Day, and a special Independence Day. Thank you for joining us in this, the 32nd episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. We appreciate that you will share, like, comment, and if you have not done so yet, subscribe. Before we get to garbage, the cut in the bad word fine, the awful report on the NSWMA, Carnival, and other matters, let's briefly look at the Sunday newspapers. The Sunday Observer leads with a story by Ramado Lyons about the debilitating toll of traffic crashes, as that collision in St. Anne is still fresh in many minds. The death toll from that is now 4. Lyons' reporting reminds us of the toll of these crashes on the nation, the economy, the lives, many of them young, taken away, not being able to contribute. The insurance industry claims and the cost to the burdened health service. Sport continues to be big, and even though, as the Observer reports, all is not well with Jamaica putting its best foot forward in the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, there are congratulatory ads on the performance of Jamaican athletes in Eugene. And there's more significant sports. In the Sunday Gleaner, the focus is on crime with an interview by Tyrone Reid of the Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang. Dr. Chang says he would have advised Andrew Holness against that promise made in 2016 that should the JLP win the next election, people will be able to sleep with their doors open. The substance of the story, though, is the hard slog of the minister in making Jamaica safe. Livon Barrett takes to the business of missing persons, even as the Donna-Lee Donaldson story continues to make headlines. And on social media, it has become the subject of fake news and salacious sensational nonsense and mumbo-jumbo. Barrett provides statistics showing how thousands of people go missing every year and how hundreds of cases remain outstanding each year. The Gleaner, like the Observer, reports on the crushing win by the Sunshine Girls over South Africa in netball at the Commonwealth Games. Now to my commentary, frankly speaking. As Jamaica celebrates its 60th anniversary, the country has never been dirtier, filthier, more lawless. Everywhere is shamefully dirty. Frankly speaking, garbage is everywhere. The road bushing that one sees is in patches. Not one of the municipal corporations, not a single mayor of the parish capitals and Portmore municipality can truthfully say, my town centre looks good. The sidewalks in my parish capital are not overtaken by sheds and stalls and shops and produce and holes. Not one of the renamed parish councils boasts of clean public spaces worthy of celebration or as being places in which to rejoice. Frankly speaking, it really is a shame, and no excuse may be proffered that the people must take responsibility. The latest Auditor General's report makes it clear, almost as if the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, has added salt to the wounds, that the agency needs to be cleansed and made fit to work. In addition to the mismanagement of funds, at least, and by the way, it's $32 billion spent in 5 years. The diligent, focused, and hard-working Auditor General and her department found that there is little strategic initiative or structures to recycle, separate and reduce the waste going to the dumps. And while that happens, the regularity with which waste is collected continues to decline. There are longer periods between one collection and the next. And complaints, the Auditor General found, are increasing as is illegal burning and illegal disposal or dumping. Frankly speaking, what a lot of solid waste. Desmond Richards has more or another side of that same story. Here's Desmond Richards.
When is corruption not corruption? When it is discovered by those presiding over it.
That's according to the management of the National Solid Waste Management Authority and their cheerleaders in the media. That's ridiculous. Riddled by thieving and misappropriation of public funds under the last PNP administration, the country gasped for breath when clean as a whistle economist Dennis Chung was appointed as chairman of the board. Chung assured the country that corruption and stealing of public funds would be a thing of the past at the state agency. But before those words came out of his mouth, the board, led by Chung, appointed the JLP Deputy General Secretary and Councillor Audley Gordon as its executive director, continuing 60 years of public policy to pack state agencies with political acts. That was his first act. Chung told the nation that 4 shortlisted candidates scored higher marks than Gordon during its evaluation process. So what did Gordon bring to the table? What the hell did he bring to the table? Slimy political corruption, of course. Chung admitted that Gordon was not academically qualified for the job, but the board was influenced by his political connections, which would be used then or exploited to get funding from the agency. No, this is ridiculous. This is what we are getting from post-generation managers. This is the kind of practice that they are going to continue with. I am telling you, this country is sentenced for another 60 years at hard labor, corruption and misappropriation of funds. What do you get when you appoint political acts to guard public funds? What do you expect? Cronyism, misappropriation of funds, and the stealing of the robbing the public purse. The latest saga at the state agency revealed that $32 million was paid out to friends and supporters of the party. Back in 2005, you'll recall, an estimated $2 billion disappeared into the pockets of PNP supporters, friends and associates of the party. Now what the hell is happening, and we are celebrating 60 years. This is 60 years of corruption. Remember, let us remember clearly that the state agency, sensitive documents at the state cleansing agency, went up in flames in 2011. This was an act to hide corruption. Let us remember that. It's time for us to cleanse the National Solid Waste Management Authority before it sinks under corruption, cronyism and thieving.
That's Desmond Richards, journalist and businessman. Crystal Cameron loves Jamaica and wants to celebrate its independence, but the image she wants people to associate with Jamaica is not the bumping and twirling of booties, as is seen from Carnival. Here she is.
So I'm about to just jump right in and be on my mean girl stuff because I went and I looked up like what is this? What is with the bend over? I was looking at some videos and some pictures and stuff. What is this? What is with the bend over? Like what is with the naked ass? Really? I was really looking at some videos and going through, scrolling through, looking at things and whatever. And I just know I'm it's irritating. It's irritating. This is the last straw. I'm not going to keep my silence. And look at this. Look at this. This is Carnival. This is the promotion going out to foreigner. This is what these people need to go and get a room. That's number one. These people need to go and get a room. Like, and then this. What is this? What if the two of them drop off and broke them neck? What is, you know what? No, oh my God. I love Jamaica. We're going to celebrate our independence. I love Jamaica. This is not what I want people to associate with Jamaica when I say I'm from Jamaica. I don't want, this is not good enough. This needs to stay in a late night dance, in a dance hall, and it needs to stay in the nightclub. Guess what? I feel like nowadays you're either with the debauchery or you're not with the debauchery. And if you're not with the debauchery, a pretty reliable way to avoid it is to just avoid anything that promotes itself by putting a naked behind on the flyer. Naked behind. And then I walk around everywhere and I hear people talking about, it's just freedom, Crystal. It's just liberation, Crystal. There was a girl, naked ass, like her and a whole bunch of other girls, like just ass out naked. And I went to uni with this girl. I went to university with her. So I messaged her. I said, no, big and serious, big man thing. Tell me, did you feel comfortable on the road with your ass out naked in a song? Did you feel naked? Did you feel comfortable like that? Big man thing. She said, well, she felt a little bit self-conscious, but really and truly, what's the big difference between that and a beach? What's the big difference between that and a beach? How many of us feel like it is appropriate to go to the beach in a song? A bathing suit, it's very small, but it's supposed to at least cover you. What happened to the cover part? Oh gosh, I love Jamaica. I don't like Jamaica's imaging.
That's Crystal Cameron, creative and businesswoman. Author, educator, and storyteller Elkanah Rule remembers the time of independence and asserts, as do many Jamaicans with good recall, that there was never a time when the country was so organized, when the place was so clean and prepared, and the celebrations reached even the smallest districts, as happened in August 1962.
I've never seen anything in this country that's so well organized in such details from throughout the length and breadth of the country. And as people would say, in every nook and cranny of the country was provided. And it must have been an enormous amount of money because there was an abundance of food and drinks and all type of entertainment, music and everything around. And the preparation for independence was great. We had two very vibrant radio stations and they were competing for popularity, and they went out of their way to make themselves known, the RJR and the JBC. This patriotism that I've seen that time, I've never seen it replicated again in this country. All the teachers were preparing for independence and they were there. Most of the places were given a fresh coat of paint. So at the time of independence, the place all over Jamaica was well painted up and ready for a new life. And the souvenirs arrived at the school before Independence Day. And at Independence Day, every single child was given more than one souvenir. Throughout the day, everybody was happy and there was a sound of music everywhere. Big parties, big dance everywhere. And indoors, there's never been a more crazier time of dancing and partying in Jamaica because those were the days of the great Prince Buster, Derrick Mark. Ska was a popular dance at the time. The people were really happy and everywhere everybody was talking about independence and they were dressed in their independence clothes. The style was quite different, but the colors, the independence colors were evident. Yes, they were really happy. They all thought that independence meant great for them. But as you know, there were also the sulking ones and who didn't believe that Jamaica could go it alone.
Yes.
And most of the younger people were really enthusiastic about independence.
That's Elkanah Rule, author, educator, and storyteller. Before we go, you must have heard by now that following a barrage of criticism, including here in this podcast, the government is climbing down from its foolish legislation to set a maximum fine of $500,000 and jail time of up to 6 months for taxi and bus crew who tell a transport authority inspector bad word. The legislation is in the Transport Authority Act, passed in the House of Representatives 2 weeks ago by politicians of the governing JLP and opposition PNP. The Transport Authority is a largely useless institution, which will not be fixed by a fine of $500 million or $5. You want to check its usefulness? Look at the result of its work, the regulation of the transport system. But that's not the issue now. After protests largely in the media, almost none from the transport sector itself, Minister of Transport Audley Shaw says an amendment will be made to reduce the maximum fine to $100,000. That's to be down from $500,000 or $500,000. My position is the same. Bad word is not the problem with the transport system. It is not. Fix the system. That's it for our Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast for this week. Thank you for sharing. We'd like to have your comments on the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Until then, I'm Franklin McKnight.